This is the CHRILLCAST. I'm Chris. There's no Will today. All right, guests, introduce yourselves.
I'm Larrue.
I'm Spencer, and I'm currently trying to think what sounds better, the CHRILLCAST or the CHRILLCAST. Without Will, is it like I feel like we shouldn't call it the CHRILLCAST, so it should be like the CHRISCast.
Basically, I mean, yeah. Whenever there's JRPGs involved, Will just kind of goes, "See ya." No.
Wake me up when Halo Infinite's out.
Wake me up when 2020 ends, basically, right? No. Anyways, so today is, as Will would put it, Wild Card Wednesday, or Conversations with the CHRILLCAST, and today we're going to be talking to Mr. Larrue with my two amazing guests, Nyarly and Spencer, also helping me to interview Larrue. I think they probably know him a little better than I do. Not trying to sound like Dr. Seuss here.
I feel like I know Larrue
He's
too
my
well.
dog.
I know Larrue too well.
Anyway, so we'll get started, and I know the other guys might know the answers to some of these questions, but my viewers of our channel probably don't know all these questions' answers, so just bear with me if you already know the answer when you're asking the question. All right, so what inspired you to create your channel, and what made you focus on games? Oh, you know what? I suck at this without Will. I should have let you guys tell everybody about your channels. I'm sorry. Larrue, tell everybody about your channel real quick.
So I make a channel. My YouTube channel is primarily based on like the lore and like the development of Mega 10 games. Sometimes Atlas, but mostly just Mega 10. I like to talk about like what the developers were thinking or who they were, and also I like to straighten out any kind of ideas behind the lore. But also now I talk about merch a lot because I always liked merch.
and you're a low-key sellout. We have to let everyone know. You are
Yes.
You are a part of your soul is owned by Bai.
Pretty much, yes. They reached out to me though, because I like preached them. I preached them in one video, and I think after that video, they were like, "Hey, do you want to sponsor?" And I was like, "What?"
Isn't that like the craziest? Like when you do a video on a subject, and then like they by some miracle come out to you, like that's the weirdest.
Yeah.
Because like I had that recently happen with tech arts, and I'm like, oh, really? I'm like, okay. Like it was like they were like the most excited I've ever heard for like a super small company to be like, somebody talk, because I'm sure for them, if you looked up like an 8-person Japanese team and a YouTuber even in Kansas talks about them, like, guys, they're talking about our company. They used our graphic.
Uh-oh, Spencer, you're glitching into the Matrix. Hold on. Hey, Nyarly, I'm pretty sure that everybody watching this video will know who you guys all are, but why don't you tell everybody about your channel?
Yeah, I mean, I do similar stuff to Larrue on my channel, mostly like Megaton and Atlas stuff. I also do challenge runs like can you beat Persona 3 or 4 with only your starting Persona, can you beat Nocturne without buffs, stuff like that. And also sometimes I do like news if there's any relevant Megaton like topics that I want to talk about. So, yeah.
And he has his own podcast.
Oh yeah, that too. That's on my second channel though.
Yeah. And you did break 1 million views on a video. That's pretty awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thanks.
How about you, Spencer?
Well, I'm just sad. Like, I wish we could have like described each other's channels just to like say what we all really thought in a really snarky way. I would have been like, for Gnarly, been like, he's like the angry video game nerd but plays Atlas games sometimes, and just ended at that.
You know what? Maybe we can do that on a different video. And this is the Wednesday one. Maybe you can do that on the Monday or Tuesday one.
Oh no. But yeah, TLDR for me, my name is Spencer. I like to talk about video games. I also run a weekly podcast called Shin Megami Tensei Network / community of just people. So if you enjoy a lot of similar stuff or just a fan of Atlas games or even maybe Sega games, my channel just kind of covers a lot of stuff. Obviously with Strikers finally getting announced, there have been a lot of videos about that, but I like to talk about other stuff. PS5, Puyo Puyo Tetris, say that I am not the world's biggest Igus rimmer. At least I'm not the biggest Igus rimmer simp, at least that I know of. I'm one of the few who does not call it in the masterpiece category, but I like to do a bunch of stuff. I don't have a theme. As your video calling me out, I'm like, what are you? Are you Spencer? Are you Torchwood? Are you SMT? He's like, no, I am a man who has way too many videos with various subjects, and clearly there's a bias, but I will never corner myself into those biases.
Fair enough. We won't either. We'll just keep being shrimp over here. So if you guys don't know who we are, just subscribe. You'll figure it out. It's all good. So today the video is all about Larrue. We're going to interview Larrue, ask him about his stuff. So I'm going to ask that first question again that I started about 3 minutes ago. What inspired you to create your channel, focusing on games like Shin Megami Tensei, Persona, and more recently some of your sponsored videos?
It's like really hard to pinpoint exactly what now because I'm just old. But I do remember it was a thing where I think the Cathedral Shadows had ended that podcast, and Nyarly wanted to put together his own podcast. This is pre-Megadolon, and we were doing that for a bit, and I decided that there's like a lot of things that I like to talk about, and I had started up a trivia page on Facebook. And originally that was like a thing I was doing with Spencer. Then I just wanted to do my own thing, and then I decided I wanted to turn that into.
I have to interrupt. You're already giving me way too much credit. I think you were sharing it on my Facebook group. I did nothing with. Did you know Tensei?
True, but it was like a catalyst. There was another guy who was super active in like the Megaten circle, Jordan. And he and I would talk about trivia all the time, and it made me want to like be like, oh yeah, well this is all the things that I know, because what's the point of reading things if I can't share them, I guess. And it eventually became a thing where I wanted to just keep talking about Megaten or just anything that was interesting to me. I even did an Angel's Egg video, which is like one of my least popular videos, but I love that movie and I wanted to talk about it. But usually it's Megaten. And I think that it was mostly just like that, being in that Facebook group with Spencer, being in the podcast with Nyarly, and then talking with Jordan, I think was like, those are like the three main ingredients to create the Larrue channel.
I have to ask, just because we're on the topic of your like thing, and I actually never asked either of you guys this question. What led to Cathedral Shadows actually ending? Was it just like everyone kind of going onto their own thing, or was like there like a specific kind of driving force that led to it kind of ending?
I think it was, at least from what I remember, I think it was like the host. He just kind of wanted to, he just kind of wanted to diversify his content because people pretty much only like knew him for Megaten.
Yeah.
It's too bad it could have been like juicier, like I stole the host or something, and then like I made them come on SMTN. Be like, your show's trash now. They're all mine. Like, I'll be the Disney of SMT podcast. I have to have everybody on it, and no one else can do the show.
All right, does Spencer and Nyarly want to grab that next question?
I have already talked too much, Nyarly. You should grab it.
Okay. Why did you pick Larrue? Is that your actual name or chosen name?
This is like a weird like story, but basically I used to play D&D a lot with my friends, and I made a bard character who was like very obnoxious and but kind of playful, and their name was Larrue. All I did was take the French word for the street, Larrue, and then I added another R to it, and then I wanted him to be like a very obnoxious bard who would like basically be like a street beggar. And when I made my channel, originally I was going by I think niche game trivia, because I didn't want to be specifically just Megaten, but at the time the only like niche games I cared about were Megaten and Danganronpa.
I forgot all about niche game trivia. Man, I think that is a blast from the past. Oh my god.
I think the first couple of videos I would say like welcome to niche game trivia, and then I referred to myself as Knock, which was me when I was a huge fan of Nocturne.
Oh my god!
I took that name, yeah. Yeah.
With a K. Like Nocturne with a K.
Yeah, Nocturne, like the game. Yeah, I went by Knock, but I put a K in front of it, and I was like,
so many personas that have just literally came and went from my brain.
Yeah, but you just got to delete them after a while. And I just really like Larrue because the character like my D&D character was cool, and he was basically just me. Like, I'm loud and annoying, and I was like, I'm just gonna be Larrue then. And yeah, that's pretty much the origin of that.
Okay. All right, Spencer. I know you said you talk too much, but you can ask the next question.
All right. Number 3, or none that it really matters. I could say number C. What is your favorite Persona and Shin Megami Tensei game?
Favorite Persona is easy. Persona 1 is by far the best Persona game.
But which version?
The original version.
Hey man, you know what? You gotta leave those PSP fans out there. You never know.
No.
Hey, I just realized something. I
Yeah.
believe that the four of us are some of the few people in this country that all have that original game still physically, and
No,
we're all on
I
one
definitely
podcast
don't.
together.
I definitely don't.
I
That's
don't
probably
have it.
rare. You don't have it? Wait, you really
that
don't
was
have
still
it,
my-
Nyarly?
that-
Is that true?
No, I have the PSP. Well, actually, I don't think I even have the physical PSP version. I got
Really?
it digitally, but I don't have either version physically.
Okay, I take that
I
back.
get a version on the shelf, and then somewhere behind me is my like PS1 version that I got for $50. I got
Does this
Persona 1 and
count-
Persona 2 for
does this
$50.
count if the green screen wants to work? Does that count as Revelations Persona?
No.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
I've got the Revelations Persona PS1 over on my shelf, and also the Persona 1. I paid way too much for the PS1 version, but I paid like $20 for the PSP version.
Nice. $20 is a good price.
Yeah, last year I think I paid $20 complete.
Complete.
Anyways, yeah. Okay,
But
so
yeah,
your favorite one's the first
Persona
one, but
1 is my favorite.
okay.
It's just I love it because it's real. People like to say like, oh, SMT if is like Persona 0, but it's like so dissimilar. Persona 1 is when they really experimented, and the battle system is fun to me. I know that it's like a hot topic, but the battle system's fun. The music is amazing. Hidehito Aoki, rest in peace. Great composer. And yeah, the art. And I even like the Revelations art, which I found out was done by Kaneko himself. The weird black mark is a Kaneko original art piece. And then for my favorite SMT, if we're just talking mainline, it would be Strange Journey. It's like a return to form. It goes back to like the SNES era days, and just kind of revitalize the formula with a little bit of Etrian flavor. And I like it because it's ridiculously hard and it's fun.
Wait, Redux or original?
Oh no!
Oh man.
I hate Redux.
One of-
I hate it.
Larrue, I want you to know one of my favorite SMT in podcasts I ever had you on was as soon like remember when Redux was out and I just brought you on. It was supposed to be like, man, it's gonna be great. One of our favorite games of all time getting released on modern platforms. We're gonna jerk this game off like it's the best thing since sliced bread. And it was just us just dogging on it for like 2 hours.
Yeah. I can't even. It's hard to say what's even good about Redux, except the new music is good. Everything else about it, I could definitely do without.
Well, on that note, what's your least favorite Persona and Shin Megami Tensei games?
I don't want to say this out loud.
Do you want me to say it for you?
You probably know. My least favorite like SMT game, that's pretty easy. That'd be either 4 or Apocalypse.
Really?
Yeah, I don't like 4 because of the shallow way it interprets alignments. But its world building is really good. The music is really, really good, and the setting and everything is good. I just hate Jonathan and Walter a lot. I think they're really terrible characters. But then Apocalypse, most things about it are bad. But it's like not even a real. It doesn't feel like a full game. I don't know. But I think that would be it. And then for Persona, yeah, I don't like Persona 5 that much compared to the other ones.
I gotta say, don't worry. That's a cold take, dude. There's a lot of people out there like, I feel like that like is not as big of a thing as it used to be anymore.
Yeah.
Which like, I get like if it was 2017, I would super get. Like even now, like I find it funny how me saying vanilla, and this is someone who liked Royal. I always find it like I was amazed at how much crap I got by saying I prefer a better version of Persona 5 to Persona 5. Like even that is like something that stirs up stuff of like. I think it's all just so segmented now. Like, even when you said SMT4, I wasn't that surprised. Like, there's not that many games to choose from, you know?
I mean, I could have went hard. The other one that was calling out to me was If. I really dislike If. But it's not If's fault that it's basically not really a whole game. They made it in like 6 months, and it's just a Frankenstein's monster of a bunch of leftover things.
Well, I was gonna say If is like so many different storylines, but there's like no clear, definitive like ending to If that you would consider a canonical ending to continue off of.
The worst thing is to me is that to get a really unique and fun story, you have to beat the game first and then play the new game plus and get Akira's route, and his route is the one that is completely different. Apparently it's really good. And
see, I thought you would have gone with just recommending, because most people who like I know can't stand the gameplay. I just say just check out the manga, because I know the manga is a lot more interesting than the story in the game.
Yeah, I like the manga for If, which is part of why I'm like, I don't really hate it that much, because the manga saves it, and then you have Khan, which is like really cool, and then but Apocalypse doesn't have anything. It's just its own kind of bad thing, and the mangas for SMT4 aren't that good. Especially Jonathan's is really terrible.
The most like depressing thing relating to SMT Con I'll never forget was at TaioCon this year, aka one of like the only anime conventions that happened in 2020. Someone actually gifted us SMT Con and volumes 1 and 2, both of the Tokyo Pop versions, and it was like, oh, you can do 2 giveaways, and I'm like, man, it's already heartbreaking enough that this series only got 2 volumes translated. Like, whoever wins, you get both. I can't like imagine it being more disappointing in game like, here you go, volume 2, nothing else.
Now learn French or German or Japanese and to read the rest. But my thing is, like, Persona 5 is not even a bad game. I just don't like the main cast, and like, it's weird because when I did like the cast, they would make me not like them. Ryuji was my favorite, and then they went out of their way to make Ryuji this joke character, and I was like, man, he was cool. He went through some things, and suddenly it's just like, let's just keep making fun of him for the whole game.
Well, it's almost like they took Persona 3, and then they like remade all the characters in Persona 4 to be similar but not the same, and then they took all those characters and said, all right, throw them in a blender and see what comes out.
True.
That's what I got out of it.
But I liked, like, it was weird because I liked the dynamics in 3 because they don't really seem like friends, and I feel like if I was with a bunch of people who were drastically different, I wouldn't be friends with them necessarily. I would just be friendly.
Yeah.
And they always kind of felt a little standoffish, and I don't know if that was intentional, but I liked that. And then in Persona 4, it was just like they're all fast friends because they're all kind of codependent.
Yeah.
And then they were like, what if we take those 2 dynamics and we just make them like not like, I don't know, Persona 5 people, they seemed all uncomfortable. They didn't I don't know. Persona 5, maybe they'll make a royal and it'll finally get the formula down.
God, what
I didn't feel like they were
money that would be. I'd be so mad if they actually. I know that would never happen, but it'd be like. What's funny is like I don't like. Larrue, do you ever have this of like, because of how much behind the scenes knowledge we know, I get retroactively mad more than like the average fan would be. So like looking at something like Royal, be like, oh cool man, they enhanced it, they put some extra stuff, and then like the cynic in me is like, they spent 3.5 years on this thing to make that. That's what you put 3 years into.
Yeah, there's.
I aspired to get to that level of frustration in my career on YouTube.
No,
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure the phrase "take your time" you see in the loading screen is just Atlas's whole company motto.
Yeah.
It's like playing in the lobby as you walk in, and
yeah, you just go in, you see like behind the reception desk, you just see a TV, and it's just the loading screen on an infinite loop.
All right, let's see. I think Nyarly's got the next question. It's the number 5.
All right. What is your favorite video you have produced on your channel?
Oh, that's really easy. I don't like most of my videos, if that makes sense. Like, they're kind of like these weird beasts where once I've birthed them, I like never want to see them again. But there is like a couple videos that I really like, and my favorite by far is my print club video. It's like the peak of what happens when I deep dive anything. I genuinely feel like I get manic and I lose my sanity, and I think that the print club that video is like, if you wanted to know what like research and why, like to what depths I would research something to, that's the video, and it's psychotic. I think that video is the best encapsulation of my content. It's unhinged. It's like manic. I make a lot of really corny jokes, and it's about something that only I really, really care about. And then I think the other one I really liked was there's this one YouTuber I love called Pat Mac, and he's like a collector of like Sonic apparel, and he talks about other things, but his best content for me is when he talks about plushies and whatnot. but he did a video, or his video content kind of made me want to talk about like just all the Jack Frost plushes that I knew of, and that video that I did about Jack Frost plushes, that's like my other favorite, because it's me talking about merch. Yeah, I did like a bunch of Jack Frost plush videos, but that's the one, the near complete history. The reason I couldn't call it a complete history is because I knew I was missing things, but I just didn't have any information or footage of what I wanted to talk about, and I'm like, I'm not gonna add this to the video if I can't like do anything. And yeah, I even credit Pat Mac right away because his videos are amazing when he talks about plushes. And when you hear him talk about it, you get excited, even though it's like he's talking about his collection, so you can't really. It's not like you're gonna buy this rare Sonic shoestring or soap shoe Sonic plush, but you get excited that he's talking about how he bought it. So I wanted to kind of like emulate that, and that video was fun. That.
I like those videos where you can kind of live vicariously through another collector.
Yeah, exactly. He's the best at that for me. I could, if whatever he talks about is Sonic merch. I don't even like Sonic that much, but I'm just like, dang, he makes me excited for the next Sonic merch line.
I find it funny just because you mentioned like that you're like vibing off of like his stuff even if you don't want it. Like my favorite and like what always motivates me to do collection update videos is just because the stuff I really, really like, not everyone has a lot of content for, especially like currently. And like, well, I love finding new people doing stuff that I'm interested in because usually it's going to motivate me to be like, oh my god, I had no idea that thing exists. Like something I found out about like a couple of years back that I was like, oh my god, like blew my mind. Is that there was specifically in, I think it was South Korea, but I might be wrong. There was a Steelbook Vita cart case, so it wasn't meant to hold the game, it was meant to hold multiple things, and it was in a Asian specific Ultra Despair Girls collector's edition.
Really?
And I'd never seen anything for that before, and I was like, that is amazing.
Too bad the game's not amazing.
Wait, what? Ultra Despair Girls is amazing.
I love that
This is why I don't like you. You don't like Ultra Despair Girls.
Hey, I found out that there's a physical PC release of the original Persona game through a YouTube video like 5 years ago, and I've been hunting eBay in America ever since, and nobody ever sells
Larrue,
it.
Get that big box out. Go show it. You know you wanna.
Wait, you have it?
Here you go, the big box.
I have one of the two. There's two releases, but I have the one that comes with the Igor card.
I missed it by $1.
Jewel case? I thought it was just always in the big box.
There's a smaller version. I don't know what the dimensions are, but it's not this big box. It looks like it's like almost like a DVD sized thing. DVD case.
Say what you will about PC gaming, man, but in the 90s, especially when they were doing those big obnoxious boxes, those are fun.
Dude, I missed that. I missed that game by $1. Doing a Japan Yahoo auction like a year ago.
What was that?
I missed getting one by $1. I was bidding up, and somebody outbid me by $1. Last second, I was like, "Oh!"
It wasn't me. I promise.
I was so mad.
Yeah, those are the worst. I think the worst of that happened to me ever is there was a signed print poster of Strange Journeys box art that they did at Tokyo Game Show, I think 2007 or 8. And it's signed by Conoco, and it's super rare. Only 100 exist. And I was like, no one's bidding on this. So I felt so confident that I was gonna win it that I only bid $50, and someone bid like 51, and I'm like, cool. This is one of the times where I should have just like bid whatever my max was and just let them try to reach it. But it hurt. It hurts to lose that, and I think about it all the time.
Would that have been the holy grail in your collection?
That's like probably one of the like feathers in my cap if I can get it. Like Strange Journey is like my favorite thing. Like, so anything obscure from Strange Journey that I can get my hands on like that, especially if it's signed.
Larrue, how far off do you think we are from a Strange Journey Kaneko artwork? I feel like it has to be at least in the next volume or two.
It's in the next. I mean, it's in the current one, Kaneko 9, that has Strange Journey.
Okay, all right.
Which it's disappointing because it's just like all the other Kaneko works where it's just like the character in a white background. So like the volumes 1, 2, and 3 have like specifically Kaneko talking about the art, and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 have just some guy talking about the art.
Let me tell you about what this guy might think about.
Yeah, and I'm like, that's cool. Like, that's cool that you like Megaten, but like, I don't care what you.
No offense, like, say what you will about the man, like, he's clearly gotten to the point in his career where he literally does not ever need to care. Like,
Yeah,
he is
true.
so in the, like, coasting period of his life. Like, I can't wait till he gets to the Katase phase. Because remember, for so many years, Katase was just like coasting at Square as producer, whatever. Here's my stamp, I don't care. Like, Katase did really nothing after the PS2 era. Like, he was just super duper coasting, and people were even like, okay, there you go. But like, I want like Kaneko to have that like FF7 remake moment where he is like, you know what? No. Hands on. I want to get deep into it again. And like, because that was one of the things of like, and I know this is like a weird tangent, but like, I always loved this. Like, whether you love FF7 remake, one of the best things about its development I always found, the team who made it, there were so many of the original dev teams behind it, because they were like, hey, we're all getting old and aren't going to be making games forever, and it would feel weird if anyone besides the original team made it, so let's all do it. And like, I just like, I would love if a lot of like old classic like Atlas staff did that for like just one more big game.
Yeah, that's like the Beatles playing on the roof, getting back together.
Persona 2 Duology
honestly,
HD.
Like,
Yeah,
literally, this would be it for me. I want the dev team behind The Lost Child, the writing team behind Caligula, and the technical budget of Atlas. And I think that would actually make a good game for classic fans.
Dude,
yeah.
I would pay $100 for Persona 2 HD if they redid it.
Unfortunately, there are not enough people who would pay $100, so they probably look at that and go, nah.
I mean, there's a lot of people that probably pay 40 or 60, but $100 probably not very many.
That's like why I do you guys ever get like offended when people like put their nose up to like whether the game be great or not? Like, I had people be like, even recently this week, they were like, oh man, hope Strikers isn't 60. I'm like, what? What was it gonna come out as? Like, what are you expecting? Like, these people are just looking, like, games are already like 70 now. So like, when I see people be like, oh man, 60's pushing it for me, I'm like, this isn't even a remake. This is a new game. They're like,
they probably burn from Royal. They probably just burn from Royal, honestly.
Yeah.
All right, I would give you that just because like everyone needs to know, if you buy video games now, this doesn't matter what series you're in. If you wait 2 weeks, it'll always be at least $35 or less. Like, physically, like, physical games go on sale super cheap after release.
Yeah.
All right, Spencer, you want to grab?
Usually,
Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say Walmart usually has them for. Usually they have them for $10 less on day one.
You're a pretty good deal hound, to be honest, Nyarly. Like, I think
mean,
you're like usually.
Nyarly's a deal hound.
Yes.
Oh,
I mean, I'm only a deal hound because I'm okay buying games without the case.
Exactly. That's like going to the pound and saying, "Hey, Scooter, you found a good bone this time." He's looking in the. I love you, Gnarly. You're looking in the trash. Not everyone's when they're looking for game deals. They're like, I'm looking for that disc, man. Let's chuck that case.
One
Let's get
man's
that
trash
nasty
is another
piece out of
man's
here.
treasure.
You know, I bought Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn for the Wii from GameStop online for like $50 when it was like going for 80, and I still regret it because it only came with the case, no manual. I had to buy the manual separate on eBay. Then I found out for a complete in-box copy, there's like 2 inserts that you have to have 2, and I'm like, I'll never have a complete copy. It'll never happen.
Can't build your own Frankenstein's Fire Emblem.
I've done it before. I did it with several other copies of games I own, but yeah, it's going to take me a while. I almost got it, but somebody was charging $30 for the inserts, and I'm like, nah, it's too much.
You don't need those dumb Club Nintendo flyers. You're fine, I promise.
For a complete game, yes.
It doesn't feel good though.
It doesn't. I feel like there's a part of my soul missing because Fire Emblem and Persona are my 2 JRPG franchises, man.
I'm just saying, like, that's one of the like best things about Vita collecting is as long as 99% of the time, if you have the case and the cover art with the game, that's complete in box.
Yeah, it is. That is true. What's this, Shovel Knight, or like what was the other one I had? Shoot, I got rid of it, so I can't. I'm such a bad Vita collector.
I'm gonna pretend you were gonna say Disney Infinity 2.0 with its
probably no. Anyways, Spencer, you got that next question.
So I'm wondering actually if this is going to be your Print Club video, but the question I have for you is, what do you think is your most underrated video? Because I was very sad when I saw that it was not already up into like 100 like K, just because like, where's the print crowd? Like, where were they hiding?
I was disappointed with the Print Club views, but I knew that it was going to be like that. I think my most underrated video though is either one of my Conoco videos, because I read a lot. Like, usually for videos, I'll read anywhere between like 10 to 20 like articles or interviews or whatever. But I have a folder of nearly 100 Conoco interviews, and I read every single one of them, and I separated them out. I created a timeline. I took all the most pertinent information and I put it together. And I was like, this is probably the closest you'll ever get to knowing who Conoco is, like in terms of as a person. And no one cares.
So, like, I want to know, like, because I actually have my theory. I want to tell you my theory before, but do you have an idea about why those were underperforming videos?
It could be anything from the way it's titled, the weird artsiness that I tried to do, like this opening. I was like, this is cool because Conoco loved Lupin. That's a Lupin reference. And I put Devilman, which is Conoco's favorite cartoon as a kid. That's gonna be cool because it represents Conoco. But I'm like, someone probably saw that and was like, this is stupid.
My biggest like culprit for this goes back to what we were talking about. I think he has been round of the industry that like only people who are fans of him now are like the ride or die, you know, and like that's probably a small group of people. Yeah,
that's also what people have been telling me. They're like, oh, you should have titled it like Shin Megami Tensei Creator or something to get more clicks. And I'm like, no, it's about Conoco. I don't care if it'll stand up on its own, but it didn't. So that's the one that I'm just so sad because I think I put
as a fan and a friend. Yeah. I know how much you busted your ass even like before you put that video up. Yeah, you like just because like that man, you're very very like you have a very very special relationship to him. Like just like as a fan, how much you appreciate his work, and like yeah, like it really shows in like the work you put into it. At the very least, I hope that you take away about like you're not disappointed with the video. You're just more disappointed that not enough people got to experience the video because I think the video was great.
Yeah, that one is one of probably the best like in terms of a lot of different things like the editing and the research. Usually I'm really a stickler for the research. It has to be as accurate as possible, and I try to limit how much I speculate on things. And that one was like laser focused, and I'm proud of that one. It's just I'm sad that I didn't perform. But I'm not gonna say that it's a bad video.
Do you guys ever have like moments where you work really hard on a video and you like get all the really important information down, but one flub up that really doesn't affect the video is now just going to haunt you for way too long?
The new video that I just did, the left video, I said that the mannequins don't shake, but Sakahagi shakes in the very first cutscene you see him, and I'm like, cool.
Fake fan.
I'm like, someone pointed that out to me. I was like, he didn't shake during my playthrough, so I watched my own footage, and I was like, he's shaking. Why did I say this? I should just delete this.
I just had it with my Scramble sales video. Like I went through, I like double checked all my facts, went to do as many places as I could, looking through like Famitsu records and Atlas shareholder stuff. Like I went through, looked at every game just to like show, because people dunk on that game for being a poor selling spinoff, and I was like, no, this game is sold better than most of the mainline series. And what was so funny about that was I got all the information down, and some random dude had commented, he was so right, is when I was talking about how Scramble was only out in Asian territories. At one point, I just say, unless you're in Asian-speaking countries, and like when you're listening to it, it makes sense. But then it's like, yeah, there is no language called Asia, so you're just being like a really dumb, like you're either really dumb or like low-key racist. And it's like, no, I promise, I'm just really dumb. It was one of those things like, man, why? Like, because I'm just so used to saying like Asian and like Asian like countries or whatever for like, because there is an Asian version for like Korea or like whatnot along with Japanese. So I just do that to cover my bases, and just didn't. It was just such a weird like roll of the tongue of like, man, the video's fine, but then I just keep thinking about that dumb line of just like, why did I say Asian-speaking countries? the spoken language of Asia.
Dude, I've put out over 350 videos in the last 2 years, and I have made so many mistakes. Like, I get called out in my comments all the time, like, whoops, you said something wrong. And I'm like, yep, you're right, I'm wrong. Move on.
That like, eats me up inside.
In my Persona 3 Orpheus-only video, I commented on how the Promise Day was almost 10 years ago from when I uploaded it, but instead of after, I said before, and yeah,
Yeah, it's weird how people will pick up on the one thing that you don't even think about that you're saying, and they'll just point it out, and it like for me it cuts deep. I'll just always think about it, and I'm half thinking about making a follow-up video just to like correct the mistakes I made in that video, because mistakes are no good.
Oh yeah, and also like whenever I mispronounce something, I always get like a million comments.
Mispronouncing
Like,
is funny.
I've gotten a million comments on my Persona 3 video, like because in that video I pronounced Caesar as Kaisar.
I love
how you
you're,
pronounce
you're,
it in Latin.
you're just a really big New Vegas fan. They just don't understand.
Oh,
Hey,
wait,
nobody can mess up as bad as Review Tech USA trying to say Shin Megami Tensei. And he said
Oh yeah.
Shin Megamo
But
Tanso or something. I was like, what
But
the?
also in that video, I mispronounced Cadenza. I misread it as Kenniza.
Oof.
Yeah.
I'm sure somebody told you that.
I like your mispronunciations. I feel like they're like a low-key troll that you're doing, and it makes it funny to me.
I honestly thought when Rich said it so wrong in his video, he was trolling, but then he kept saying it over and over, and I was like, he really doesn't know what he's saying. Like, he's just missed it completely. Did you guys watch that video?
I
Yes.
heard enough of it, yeah.
Just
Oh,
a clip
God.
of him.
I was so mad. Like, I like physically had to pause the video, calm down, and then finish it. I was like, I can't do this. I was like, this is an insult to the entire fan base. Anyway, sorry guys. It's a complete tangent here. All right. Is there anything that has you excited or nervous about Shin Megami Tensei 5? Just brief.
Briefly, I don't like the direction that Apocalypse went. I read all the SMT5 interviews, so they're saying that it's going to be like a hybridized, spiritually similar to Nocturne and 4.
Lou, I was ready for you to just legit your brief answer. I don't like who's making it.
That is the brief answers. I don't like who's making it. I was literally.
Can we just get like Can we get not the guys who did the last one? That'd be great. It's like with Star Wars. It's like, listen, you can keep your last movie, just don't give me the same person again.
Basically, I was talking to like my like research partner. Her name is Spider. Like we basically whenever I'm like trying to like read these archaic interviews, she helps me like make it make sense, and we'll like bounce like what our opinions off of each other and stuff. And she was talking about how excited she was for SMT5, and I was like, no, this is all the people who wanted to make SMT4 Apocalypse the way it was making SMT5. So for me, the big thing that happened like behind the scenes of that the development of that game is that the old staff and the younger generation wanted to like do two different things. The old staff were hardcore traditional. They wanted it to be like traditional Megaten, and the new staff wanted to shake things up. So that's why Apocalypse deviates so much. But I'm like, these people saw how much of a failure it was financially. So would they continue to do that? I don't know. And then I was looking at the way Strange Journey is kind of like this weird I spit on your grave interpretation of Strange Journey. And I'm like, man, I don't know if I'm excited for 5 anymore at all. But in terms of being excited, I am excited because I saw a lot of new demon designs in the trailer. And I'm just like, who are these people? Like, who are they? Who's that angel that's not the SMT2 angel, but who's that gargoyle-looking thing? Like, I don't know. Those things got me excited, and especially the new weird, I don't know, dog-looking guy. Those got me excited. But everything else, I'm just like, dude, I don't know.
Dude, I did not realize that the staff split occurred. It's almost like you got a for putting it in Will's terms, a 343 Bungie split almost, right? Where 343 is taking it in a whole different direction.
Yes, that's like the perfect way to describe.
Like, honestly, you're not that far off, especially just because of obviously Halo and 343 are in a lot more of a public-facing thing, especially with their delay of like Infinite. Literally, from all the behind-the-scenes stuff I've ever been told over the past 2 years, that dev team has been like literally that meme of like SpongeBob's brain, and they're all running around with like the office cabinets on fire. Like they are so stressed, but because they're much on a smaller scale, thankfully no one's like really putting the spotlight on them.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right, let's see. Nyarly, you got the next question. That'd be number 8.
All right. What is your favorite character and demon in the SMT/Persona series?
Demon is easy. It's Bugaboo from Strange Journey. It's I just love his design. It's simple. It's clean. It does the thing where it's like cute but also creepy. Like in theory, when you look at the design, you're like, oh, that's kind of cute. But if it was in the real world, you'd be like, that's a creepy gimp guy. Like it's just like, I don't know. I love that. Like, and also his like whole thing of being. Well, I don't want to spoil Strange Journey. The Strange Journey plot revolving around Bugaboo is interesting, and I liked it a lot. So he's like by far my favorite demon. For favorite character, that's kind of tough, because I don't know. I don't know if I have a favorite character. I haven't thought about that in a while. Like the first thing that comes to mind is Jin from the Strange Journey Redux manga, but not even that. It's hard to say. I don't have any like affinity towards protagonists too much.
You can cheat and say Jimenez as Bugaboo.
No, I don't. Jimenez is cool, but he's not that cool. I was gonna cheat and say Setsuna Kai from Devil Children.
That counts, man. Hey, that counts.
But that's like old school like Larrue. That's like Shin Megami Tensei Network podcast era Larrue. I used to love Setsuna Kai a lot. It's hard to say because I like a lot of the characters in different games, but there's none of them really stand out like as like a particularly like something when I would like vibe with or that I could relate to. Most probably because they're all Japanese generally, and so living in an apocalypse. But
I did not type that right. I'm gonna give up.
It's
Man,
fine.
can I just say, by the way, I'm glad I'm also with you there, Larrue. Like,
What
I
the-
would like if you relate to any of the protagonists or any side characters, great for you. I like do not know how comfortable I feel with like especially SMT games. Be like, yeah, man, I'm really vibing with. I'm getting Walter vibes. Like we're really vibing it on each other.
Yeah, no thanks.
like imagine a girl just be like, dude, I feel like Isabeau's me. Like they really just took me and put me into the game.
Dude, I like Baofu from I probably pronounced that wrong, but he's awesome.
Okay, that makes it that gives me an in. I really like Baofu and Ulala. Those are like my two some of my favorite
Their
characters.
interactions are hilarious.
That I love Ulala's backstory. I like both of their backstories actually quite a bit, and maybe because they're just also old, so I feel like they're written like believable old people. I also really like Erica from Catherine, just because she's interesting. I like the dynamic of the Catherine cast because they're also old people that feel like old people.
Larrue, you would love Yakuza 7. That's like the entire time I keep playing it, I'm like, dude, it's so nice to be playing as people in their 40s. That's like the best part of the game. Like literally, even my wife, she was like, man, it's nice to see you playing an RPG that doesn't involve schoolgirls. And I'm like, me too. It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, that's how I felt. Like even in like the other Yakuza games, I'm like, man, it's nice. Not hearing someone yell Persona and then talk about how they have class or whatever. It's cool to just have the serious guy trying to prove he's not a murderer or whatever the plot is for the different games. Like Yakuza's good. Everyone should play Yakuza.
Which one should I start with, though, is the real question.
I would say jump into 7. I know there are people who are like start with 1, do 0 or whatever, but like, as much as you will lose from jumping into 7, I think at least that is such a important game right now in terms of like kind of setting the tone for what that future team's going to do. Like I think sales wise it's definitely fine enough that if they want to do another RPG, great. Just like so far I'm like, man, especially as like an RPG fan, there's like the stuff they do with like the characters and everything of like just everything with 7 is just like is just so nice and just really great to like jump into. And also, dude, it's like $30 right now if you want to buy a new. Like for a game like that, like an 80-hour RPG for like $30 brand new. Like no matter what you played on, it's on Xbox finally, it's on PC, it's on PS4. Like play it wherever you can. It's dirt cheap. Enjoy it. And also, there's less baggage. So, like, think about, like, when you tell someone to play Yakuza, before 7, it was like, okay, we'll start with 0, and then you gotta play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And also, there's some spin-offs if you really want to, but, like, hey, don't worry about Dead Souls. But, like, it's just nice now with 7 to be like, you can jump into 7. Just enjoy 7 if you want.
See, but I'm the type that will probably go back and play everything.
I
should
should
play it.
Oh, Nyarly's trying to talk, guys. Nyarly's trying to talk. He's got something to say.
I think you should just start with 1.
I mean,
And when I say 1, I mean the original 1.
No.
you don't like
Mark
Columbus?
Hamill's voice is not enough to save that game.
Yes,
Mark
it
Hamill
is.
Remember making that game or voicing that game?
No, okay, it's not just Mark Hamill, it's the NPC voices too.
True.
See, that's kind of why I like playing the original Persona, for the same reason. You get the original atmosphere and the original music. Despite the PSP remake having a lot of quality of life improvements, I'll still go back and play the PS1 version. Just unless I'm trying to do the Snow Queen quest, then I'll play the PSP version. But
Yeah. Well, I mean, also, like, I mean, another reason. I mean, well, given I haven't actually played any of the Kiwami games, but, like, I've seen footage of them and stuff, and they, like, added a whole bunch of mechanics that weren't in the original. But then you go back and play, like, 3 and 4 remastered, those mechanics aren't in those games either. So
Yeah. It is a weird situation because you can't really. It's either they better keep remaking the games with the new mechanics, or I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, we got remasters for 3, 4, and 5 this year,
exactly.
so yeah, I don't see it ever like happening.
Then just play the original.
I say just play the original and work your way up.
And then
Play
0.
Dead Souls if you want.
Work your way up and then go back and then go work your way back up again.
And then play the weird ones where they're like in feudal Japan and whatever. Like.
hey, Spencer, try and ask this next question without leading it with any particular bias.
Okay. So next question: if you had to pick, who are some of your favorite content creators on YouTube, and why are they none of us?
It will sound kind of messed up. I don't really watch. I watch Nyarly. I watch Spencer sometimes. I watch like a lot of like anyone who's in my little like I don't know what it's called, the little.
It's called Friends. It's called Friends, Larrue.
Yeah, but you know what I'm talking about on YouTube, the YouTube friend list. I watch those people. I watch you guys not because I'm super interested, more because I'm just like, oh yeah, let me give them the view, and then if we want to talk about it, we can talk about the video or something. But it's not. Those aren't the things I gravitate towards. I like YouTube content that I like are usually either like super specific historical stuff. I love Pat Mac. He's like that. He's that collector I was talking about earlier. Let me just look. I like this guy named Spooky Rice who talks about like obscure gory horror movies, and he just talks about them. It's really dumb. Really, it's kind of like my fast food for like when I just want to watch something dumb. Not to say that his videos are bad. They're just like, it's crazy to just hear some of these movies, and be like, wow, they actually made that. There's this like this person. She does a podcast as well. Her name is Tara Devlin, and she does a lot of Japanese. She does a lot of like Japanese mythology, Japanese folklore, and a lot of like modern day, like I guess the equivalent of creepypastas and internet mysteries. I like her content because it's just just weird things, like weird pseudo mythological things, and I like that. And there's another person who does content called I forget what his name is now, John Solo, and he does like these like little deep, not so much deep dives, but he'll talk about mythology and like folklore, fables, and he's cool too. But usually most of the people that I listen to are either historical people that'll talk about like myths, fables, and stuff like that, or it'll be like collector people like Pat Mac. I don't watch a lot of like SMT content or Mega 10 YouTubers.
Oh
I
like, dude, like especially when like you're in it so much, it's like the last thing I want to do when I'm making my weekly SMT podcast is to look up other SMT pod. I'm like, no, I'm like, listen, I'm hearing it twice. I'm making it once, and I'm editing myself. Like I'm aware what you're going through with most of it, but like I know what you mean. I have to ask just out of like purely greediness because I've always really wondered this about you. If you had to pick, it could be over any topic. Doesn't have to be about games. Doesn't have to be about Atlas. If you could pick any video, like at least subject or whatever, if you said like, man, I want to see Spencer make this video, like what would you want to will into existence to see my take on?
Well, that's tricky because I feel like I would like to see some of your like most of the things that I like from you is when you talk about the Vita, because I think that like for me what I value the most about content is when someone knows a lot about what they're talking about, and since you know a lot about the Vita, it's interesting to hear what you have to say because you have a wealth of experience. If you condensed basically like a Vita, like inception to like what the death of the Vita sort of thing. Well, you'll be objective.
Honestly, like when we do get to that end, that's why some of my favorite stuff is. Whoa, did I lose something?
No, you're back.
Yep.
You're back. You just dropped out for a second.
That's really weird because it like kept going, but okay.
I wonder if it was because Nyarly dropped in and out for a second.
Yeah,
no, that'll do it. Yeah, because my recorder flipped on and off.
My screen went black for a second.
Yeah.
But no, like one of my favorite projects I've ever got to work with. I can't actually pull it out because I don't have stretchy arms. But a friend of mine has been chronicling with books. His name's Saint Deep. He works on these things called the life and death of the Vita. So we've done like each year is its own book of just like talking about the system. And his last one he did this year was technically called The Death, but like the real death is definitely going to be next year when Asian manufacturing ends for everything with games.
Yeah.
So like that one I'm really excited about. I've even almost been like kicking around the idea of like if I almost because like I've for a long time really wanted to do books. Like I've gotten like my writing in magazines, I've gotten my writing like online and in like books and stuff, but like actually heading one up myself just because it's had such a weird life of like I think if you told people like 10 years ago, hey, the Vita is going to be more relevant than the 3DS, people would be like, what? The 3DS like is way more popular. But look, like 3DS gets no games anymore and the Vita is still getting new games all the time.
That's because it was so advanced for when it came out. Spencer, when am I doing VitaCast with you? I have so many things to say.
Yeah.
VitaCast needs to come back first, but yeah, that for sure is a thing.
Yeah. I think that would be like if you condensed it into like just like this really nice polished like 30-minute, maybe an hour video. I would watch that hardcore.
I mean, we did do something like that last year on my channel.
True, but I want it to be from like almost like a documentarian perspective, like which sounds really weird because it's it's a handheld console, but it's interesting to me, especially when someone knows a lot about it. That's what makes me like kind of like hungry for it. You know what I mean?
I think Sony really, really missed the ball where before the Switch came out, they could have actually had a PS4 bundle where the Vita was marketed as the Switch, essentially.
It's funny you say that because actually in Europe they did have that. It was called the Ultimate PlayStation 4 bundle. It came out in early 2014. It had a Vita and a launch PS4.
That was to compete with the Wii U, not the Switch.
Right.
No one needs to.
Okay, it was to beat the Wii U into the ground further.
Very true.
I like the Wii U though. In retrospect, the Wii U is like an amazing console.
It is. I still have mine.
If only we were talking about the Wii U later in this.
The superior version of Tokyo Mirage Sessions. No, anyways.
We're gonna get into that.
Anyways,
I have my Japanese copy up there, the one
that's
not censored. Vagina bones.
Oh my gosh. Can I please just say what I'm gonna say here, guys? All right, Larrue, here's the last question on the list. Yeah. Is there anything that we've missed about you or your channel that you would like to discuss, or any questions you have for myself, Nyarly, or Spencer?
Yeah, missed? I don't know. Like, I'm not someone who likes talking about myself, like needlessly promoting. I'm not a promoter per se. I like to I like to talk about myself when questions are asked, but I can't think of anything that I would like to specifically bring up.
You didn't talk about your podcast. You do a podcast.
I do a podcast. I'm more proud of my streaming than my podcast.
Dang. Sorry anyone on the Megaton podcast.
Yeah, that's Spider, Nep, and Glib sucks to be them. It's actually like
They're not.
on
They're
my
not.
channel,
You're right.
and it's like my
It's
least
okay.
popular content too. Like yeah, there you go. Hello, fellow Mega Tennis. Um, the reason why like I love the podcast is because it was kind of like a way for me to get like news out, because I wanted to like talk about the news, and I experimented with a couple of different like formulas. Like I did this thing called that I called the fusion accidents, and that was going to be my format for discussing news. But I was like, I don't like this weird like short life content, because once I release a video about something that just came out, like it won't be relevant anymore in a few months or a few weeks. So the podcast was kind of like a way to circumnavigate that, and also a way for me to be as hyperbolic and as just like random as possible, because like the way I present myself in my video is a little different from how I am like actually, in the sense that my videos are usually more focused, and in real life I'm way more tangential. I don't know. I just talk like ad nauseum until someone interrupts me. And that's what the podcast is. And that's what my Twitch is.
I totally understand where you're coming from with that. That's why we try not to cover news as much as possible on this podcast.
Yeah. Unless the news is like a springboard. Like I know what we're gonna talk about later, but when it's a springboard for actual discussion, cool.
Exactly.
But when it's like, hey, this look like that dumb Funko Pop, I'm like, it looks like the Terminator. That's all I had to say about it is that.
Like one of the like craziest things is like people will always be surprised. Like I'll sometimes get asked, "Hey, why are you like why did you not talk about X or Y and stuff?" Like we very rarely will talk about on SMTN like merch. Like you've really got to be like of consequence, because like yeah, if I talked about every piece of like merchandise each week, I'm sure I could make the show an extra 20 or 30 minutes longer. But like I don't have a passion for that really. Like if I can get merch, cool, whatever. Like I think when stuff is interesting, of like, well, look at this really old book finally getting translated. Like that's interesting, because then you can talk about, oh, what's the future of these other publications and stuff. Like when there was like that kind of renaissance of Atlas manga finally getting brought out. Like when we were getting like Persona 3, 4, Q, and like whatnot. It was just like, wow, this is like crazy. We went from like nothing to like all these publishers wanting to like put stuff out for it. Like that's more of an interesting topic than being like, yo man, check out this figure. It's a pretty cool little plastic figure.
Unless you're a Halo fan talking about Mega Blocks.
No. Yeah, you don't want that.
Anyway.
The one interesting piece of merch that I've seen this year is the Demi-Fiend bust. And it's going to be like, I haven't seen what it looks like because they haven't released it yet. But it's
I'm offended. I'm offended you didn't go for the SMT if bag. I thought you were going to like cream yourself with the if bag.
I can't believe they're making that bag. The if bag is so awful looking.
What?
But yeah, they just announced that there's gonna be a bust, and the company that makes the bust, or that makes this bust, most of their merch is like $700 to $4,000.
Yeah, it's like what? Isn't it like what 1/4 or 1/3 scale?
It's 1/1 scale.
Oh,
what?
Yeah, that's just the bust. Yeah, duh.
And
I've
already told everyone that I'm going to buy it. Like all the people, that's something that people don't know actually, is that the reason why like my purchases kind of fluctuate is because I have a financial advisor. My girlfriend basically has to give the okay for me to buy things. Otherwise, I would not have a savings account, because I would just spend all
Now,
my money.
I hope you're smart and you bought 3 so that you can paint them all either blue, silver, or poop in yellow pea or whatever.
That'd be kind of nice. I'm waiting for them to open the pre-order so I can order it. I'm thinking if it's under 2,000, I'll buy 2, but if it's like 700, then I might buy 3. And that's I know I sound very insane, but I almost bought those. Do you remember when I almost bought the Nanako Persona 4 dancing shoes? I was gonna buy, not to wear them, just because I was like, there's shoes.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Merch. Weird
yeah,
merch,
it was
man.
weird, and I get high off of weird merch. Like, just like as soon as I know it's bizarre, I'm like, I need it. I was trying to import.
You would probably sniff the shoes more than wear them.
Yeah, I almost bought the other thing I tried to get, but I couldn't get, was the Dojima perfume. Not Dojima from Persona or from Yakuza, but the Persona 4 Dojima.
The detective.
Like another weird one you have that like even like you've talked about the times you would use it, but you pretty much bought it just because it's a weird thing. It's like all the wine for the 25th anniversary.
Don't make me grab it. It's right behind me.
Dude, like in like 50 years from now, we should all like have a party and we should all drink them.
Drink of the wine of the wrath of God. Mega 10 wine.
Wait, Larrue, that actually reminds me. Do you own any of the perfume?
No, so the thing that's annoying is the reason why I couldn't buy it is because you can't import.
You can't import it because it might blow up.
For some reason, you can import alcohol that's potentially flammable, but you can't import.
because there's a alcohol like thing license you can do for shipping, but there's never been enough demand for a perfume license, which is hilarious now that I've said that out loud. Also, I know way too much about shipping mandates from working at FedEx for 3 years, so please don't ask me.
The fact that you know that much about perfume specifically is cool, actually, because I wish I knew that, because I tried a lot of like workarounds. Like I was like, okay, let me just buy it without telling the importer that it's
the funny thing about like literally the biggest workaround there is, and this always happens, is if you ever have any liquid at all, and this is just for everyone who wants an inside trick, just if you're ever able to fill out like and you don't want customs to open it, say it's barbecue sauce. Just always say it's barbecue sauce, and they will never care, check, or open it.
Interesting.
Because think about it, barbecue sauce has so many different types of consistencies. There's not like one. There's like, oh, here's the very thick barbecue sauce. Here's the very light frequency barbecue sauce. Like, there's like multiple smells. So like, even if something spills, no one's gonna get like sus about it. There's no like barbecue sauce dogs to come over and lick the box and see what's going on.
Among Us.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. Now that we've talked about barbecue sauce for Larrue's interview, is there anything else that we completely missed that I know that Spencer and Nyarly might have something if Larrue doesn't that we might have missed about him?
No, I don't think I have anything that I need to share.
All right. Well, then we'll close this segment out, and then we'll roll to the next one after we quit this one. So I'm gonna say I'm Chris, and you'll say your name, and then we'll roll down the list, and then I'll say we'll see you on the next CHRILLCAST. So ready? As always, I'm Chris.
I'm Larrue.
I'm Nyarly.
And I'm last, also Spencer.
And I want to thank you guys for all being on here, and we will see you on the next CHRILLCAST. We're here Monday through Friday, every day of the week at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. See you later.